All right, so we're diving deep today
Hmm.
into the Wild West.
Oh,
Ready for this?
yeah.
Where we're going to uncover the truth about Billy the Kid.
Buckle up.
Yeah, using some excerpts from the American History Tellers podcast.
Sounds good.
I think you're going to be surprised by what we find in these sources.
I bet.
You might think you know Billy the Kid, but it turns out he's way more complex
Oh, mercy.
in just that gunslinging outlaw we see in all the movies.
Yeah.
So to kick things off, let's go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Expert speaker. Before all the shootouts and the fame, who was Billy the Kid?
Well, before he was Billy the Kid, he actually went by a few different names.
Oh, really?
First, Henry McCarty, then William H. Bonney, and finally, just Billy.
Okay, so just Billy.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And his early life was anything but stable.
Really?
Yeah. Just imagine losing your mother at a young age
Oh, wow.
and just drifting from place to place, constantly getting into trouble.
So this is not the charmed life that we think of
Yep.
with Billy the Kid. So that was Billy's reality.
Yeah. Tough start for sure.
But in the sources, there's this really intriguing detail.
Yeah.
Even as a young man, Billy was known for being polite and charming.
Huh.
That doesn't exactly scream outlaw, does it?
It's a fascinating contradiction, right? It makes you wonder how much of his later notoriety was shaped by the circumstances he was in, you
Right.
know? But even in the Wild West, charm could be a valuable tool for survival.
I guess so. Okay, so we've got this. Young, charismatic,
Mhm.
but troubled Billy.
Right.
And then enters John Tunstall,
Ah, yeah.
expert speaker. Tell us about this pivotal figure in Billy's life.
So John Tunstall was a wealthy Englishman.
Yep.
He arrived in New Mexico with big dreams, wanted to build a livestock empire,
Wow.
but he walked right into a hornet's nest of corruption.
Oh, no.
The House, this powerful group, led by the ruthless Jimmy Dolan, they controlled everything in Lincoln County.
Wow.
And they were not about to let some newcomer upset their apple cart.
This is where things get really interesting. The source material describes how Tunstall visited a young Billy in jail
In jail?
for horse theft.
No way.
That seems like a strange place
Yeah.
to start a friendship.
Yeah, unlikely pairing for sure.
But Tunstall saw something in Billy, some hidden potential.
Mm.
He didn't just offer him a job, he forgave the horse theft.
Wow.
Think about that. This wealthy rancher
Mm.
extending grace to this young outlaw.
It speaks volumes about Tunstall's character.
Yeah, he sounds like a pretty amazing guy.
Yeah.
What kind of impact do you think that act of kindness had on
I
Billy?
mean, here's this kid who's been drifting,
Yeah.
getting into trouble, and suddenly someone believes in him.
I mean, that was been huge for him.
Yeah, and you know, it's this relationship with Tunstall that would set the stage for one of the most dramatic chapters in Wild West history,
Which is
the Lincoln County War.
the Lincoln County War. Now, when we think about the Wild West, we
Mhm.
often picture, lawless towns and
Yeah.
gunfights in the streets. Was Lincoln County really as chaotic as the stories make it seem?
Oh, it was definitely a powder keg waiting to explode.
Oh, wow.
Corruption was rampant, violence was an everyday occurrence,
Okay.
and alliances shifted constantly. I mean, the sources paint a vivid picture
Hmm.
of just how dangerous this place was.
There's this one line from the source material that really stuck with me.
What is it?
It says, if you liked breathing, you didn't get in Dolan's way.
Oh, wow.
That's a chilling description.
It is. It gives you a sense of just how much control Dolan and the House held over Lincoln County.
Right.
But their grip on power was about to be challenged.
Oh,
Remember Tunstall, the rancher who befriended Billy?
yes.
His murder by Dolan's men ignited the Lincoln County War.
Wow.
This bloody conflict that would change everything.
And fueled by loyalty
Mhm.
and this desire for revenge was thrust right into the heart of it.
Absolutely. The young man who had been searching for a fresh start was suddenly fighting for his life.
Yeah.
And for the memory of the man who gave him a chance.
Wow. So the Lincoln County War is raging. Billy the Kid is now a key player, and things are getting really messy.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is that even in all this chaos, Billy seems to still be holding on to a shred of hope
Oh, really?
for a peaceful resolution.
Mm.
How is that even possible?
I mean, remember, Billy was young, barely out of his teens, and despite everything he'd been through, he still longed for a life free from violence.
Yeah.
The sources even suggest that he reached out to Jimmy Dolan.
What? The man he was fighting against?
Yeah.
Hoping to negotiate some kind of truce?
It's true.
That's incredible. It must have taken a lot of courage,
Oh,
or maybe even desperation, to try to make peace
yeah.
with your sworn enemy.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Sadly, no.
Mm-mm.
Dolan wasn't interested in compromise. He saw Billy's attempt as a sign of weakness, a chance to exploit the situation to his advantage.
So what happened? Did Dolan try to double-cross Billy?
He did. He lured Billy into a trap,
Oh, no.
using the promise of negotiations as a way to gain the upper hand.
Wow, what a jerk.
It was a brutal reminder of just how ruthless Dolan could be.
Poor Billy.
Yeah.
Every time he tries to step towards a better life,
Yeah.
something drags him back into the darkness.
Yeah. But it also speaks to his resilience.
Oh, okay.
Despite this setback, Billy managed to escape Dolan's trap.
He did.
Yeah, and that's when another iconic figure enters the picture,
Who's that?
Pat Garrett.
Ah, Pat Garrett, the
Yeah.
legendary lawman who would ultimately become Billy the Kid's nemesis.
That's right, and ironically, Garrett and Billy were once friends.
Oh, wow.
But now Garrett was the new sheriff of Lincoln County, and he was determined to bring Billy to justice.
So we've got a classic Western showdown brewing here. The
Yeah.
outlaw versus the lawman.
Yeah,
Two former friends forced into opposite sides of a conflict.
precisely, and their story would become one of the most enduring tales of the Wild West.
That's so interesting.
Garrett was relentless in his pursuit of Billy, tracking him across vast landscapes,
Wow.
always one step behind.
It must have been like a game of cat and mouse.
Oh, yeah.
With the stakes getting higher with every encounter.
Absolutely.
Where did this chase lead them?
To a place called Stinking Springs.
Stinkin' Springs.
In December of 1880, Garrett and his posse finally cornered Billy and some of his men there. A fierce gun battle erupted.
Can you imagine the scene? Gunfire echoing across the desolate landscape,
Oh, yeah.
the air thick with tension, and the
Oh.
smell of gunpowder.
Wow.
Intense. How did it end?
Tragically, for Billy's side, one of his men was killed in the shootout,
Oh, no.
and the rest, including Billy, were forced to surrender.
So they lost.
Yeah, Garrett took them back to Lincoln, where Billy was put on trial for the murder of Sheriff Brady.
So, after years of running, after all the bloodshed and the chaos, Billy the Kid was finally going to face justice.
Looks like it.
What happened at the trial?
It wasn't a long trial. The evidence against Billy was strong, and the jury found him guilty.
Oh, wow.
He was sentenced to hang. The date was set May 13th, 1881.
It seems like the end of the line for Billy the Kid.
You'd think so, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
But even facing his execution, Billy's story wasn't over yet.
What do you mean?
He was a master of survival. And as long as he was breathing, there was always a chance for another daring escape.
Hold on. Are you saying he escaped from jail
Uh-huh.
again? This guy was incredible. How'd he pull it off this time?
Picture this, Lincoln, this rough and tumble town where security was lax, especially for a prisoner who was considered as good as dead
Okay.
while being escorted to an outhouse. Billy saw his opportunity.
He wasn't going to just sit around waiting for the hangman, was he?
Nope.
What'd he do?
He managed to get a hold of a gun.
How?
Well, the details are a bit fuzzy, but it probably involved some quick thinking and a lot of luck. He shot and killed one of his guards,
Oh, my God.
forced the other to release him, and then he was gone,
Wow.
vanishing into the night.
That is like a scene straight out of a Hollywood movie.
It is.
I bet the folks in Lincoln
Yeah.
were not too happy about it.
Oh, no. What happened next?
You can imagine the manhunt that followed.
Oh, yeah. Pat Garrett was furious. He'd captured Billy once, and he was determined to do it again. This time there would be no mistakes, no second chances.
Oh, wow.
Garrett pursued Billy relentlessly, following every lead, every whisper, every rumor, until he finally tracked him down to Fort Sumner.
Fort Sumner.
Mm.
And that's where it all ends,
Yeah.
right? The final confrontation between Billy the Kid and Pat Garrett. I can feel the tension building already.
Yeah, you can sense the drama, can't you?
I can.
It was late at night, July 14th, 1881. Garrett and two of his deputies approached the house where Billy was staying. They crept through the darkness, their footsteps muffled by the night air.
It's like something out of The Nightmare. The hunter and the hunted, their fates intertwined in the darkness.
Garrett entered the bedroom, and in the dim light of a single candle, he couldn't quite make out who was there.
Oh, no.
There was a whispered exchange, a moment of confusion, and then
Then what? Don't leave me hanging.
Garrett drew his gun
Yeah.
and fired.
And that was it. The end of Billy the Kid. Just like that.
That's the accepted version of events. Billy the Kid, the charismatic outlaw, the symbol of Wild West rebellion, was dead at the age of 21.
Wow, what a story. It's incredible to think that someone so young
I know.
could live such an intense, action-packed life.
It's a testament to the unpredictable nature of the Wild West, where life could change in a heartbeat, where fortunes were made and lost on the turn of a card, and where legends were born in the blink of an eye.
It's hard to believe this young man, barely out of his teens, managed to carve his name into Wild West history.
I know, right?
But as they say, legends never truly die.
That's true.
Expert speaker. What happened after Billy the Kid was killed? Did the stories just stop there?
That's the interesting thing about legends. They often take on a life of their own, especially when the truth is shrouded in mystery. In Billy's case, his death only fueled more speculation and controversy.
Oh, there were controversies.
Yeah.
Even after he was shot by Pat Garrett.
Oh, yeah.
That's intriguing. What kind of controversies are we talking about?
Well, almost immediately after news spread of Billy's death, some folks started questioning whether Garrett had actually killed him.
Really?
Yeah, there were whispers of a cover-up, rumors that Billy had somehow escaped and was living out his days in secret.
Wait, so people believed that he faked his own death?
Mm-hmm.
That seems pretty far-fetched, doesn't it?
You might think so, but remember, this was the Wild West.
Right.
Anything seemed possible, and these rumors persisted for decades.
Wow.
Over the years, several men came forward, claiming to be Billy the Kid.
Oh, wow.
Some even offered what they claimed was proof.
Imagine that. Decades later, someone pops up
Yeah.
claiming to be this legendary outlaw.
I know.
Did any of those claims turn out to be true?
None of them held up under scrutiny. One of the most famous contenders, a man named Brushy Bill Roberts, even had his DNA tested.
Yeah.
It was proven that he wasn't Billy.
Oh, wow. So even in death, Billy the Kid was a source of intrigue and debate.
He was.
It just goes to show how powerful his legend had become.
It really does.
Why do you think his story resonated so deeply with people, even after he was gone?
Well, think about it. He died young, in a blaze of, well, questionable glory,
Right.
and he was already a notorious figure. It was the perfect recipe for a legend to take root and grow.
And of course, the more time passed, the more the stories were embellished,
Exactly.
turning him into this folk hero.
It's true. Dime novels and Wild West shows romanticized his exploits, transforming him from a troubled young man into a symbol of rebellion against authority.
It makes you wonder how much of what we know about Billy the Kid
Mhm.
is actually true, and how much is just myth and folklore.
Right.
Is there any way to separate fact from fiction at this point, to get a sense of the real Billy the Kid
Yeah.
beneath all the layers of legend?
It's a challenge for sure, but by carefully examining the historical sources, considering the different perspectives and motivations of those who knew him, we can start to piece together a more nuanced picture. He was undoubtedly a complex individual, charming and ruthless, loyal and reckless,
Yeah,
capable of great kindness and shocking violence.
sounds like he was.
Yeah.
A product of his environment.
I think so.
A young man shaped by the violence and lawlessness of the Wild West,
Right.
but also someone who actively contributed to that chaos.
Precisely. And that's what makes his story so fascinating. It's not just about the gunfights and the outlaws. It's about exploring the gray areas of human nature, the choices we make when faced with impossible situations.
So for all of you listening, as you go about your day, think about this.
Yeah.
What is it about the Wild West that still captivates us? Is it the adventure, the lawlessness, the idea of forging your own destiny, no matter the cost? Maybe it's a reminder that history is rarely black and white, that even the most legendary figures are ultimately human, flawed and complex.
Well said.
And if you're looking to dive even deeper into the world of Billy the Kid and the Wild West, be sure to check out the full American History Tellers series. It's a wild ride. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.